Yeah. 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 So many lies that you hear from the net, they don't get her respect. She reporting the truth, not a check. You want an unbiased opinion straight from the chest, not a bit accomplice or someone here for a check. Tune in, these are thoughts from a lawyer on a mission who goes so hard it's like she works on commission. Trolls in the comments might say she tripping cause they lack the knowledge. They don't know they missing. Got a couple current events that you like. Wanna know about law from the eyes. Tired of all these blogs running lies because their agendas are disguised. Tune in to the intellect, cause I'm sure y'all missing all the facts of the case that she steady is gifting. Someone here for the people, man, it's so uplifting. If you ain't subscribed yet, then you just omitting facts.
Hello, everyone. It's Pam Esquire, also known as your law intellect and also your social media lawyer. Depends on who you ask. Happy Monday. Thank you for everybody that has already hit that like. As you come in, please hit the like. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you are my old time day ones, welcome back. Please make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so already. Again, if you hit the like, it's a free way to support the platform. So other people that's interested in the content as you guys are, as the intellects, they can also know when I come on. So as you see, today we are going to talk about the Tory Lanez. You guys know when I start a case, I have to finish it. Sometimes I am upset with myself that I have this rule about this channel that I am going to finish it. So I'm going to speak to a few of you guys. We're going to do a little recap. For those of you that don't know, there was a motion for a new trial that was filed by Jose Baez, who is the attorney that has taken over for Tory Lanez, who was found guilty. Tory Lanez was found guilty. What was that, about December-ish? He was found guilty. Yeah, it was right before Christmas. He was found guilty of 3 charges. And yeah, so we're going to get into that. It's related to Megan Thee Stallion. Go back, look at my videos. I was live in California on those past videos. I was not live today, but I do have someone that is so gracious, that is also an attorney, that was in the courtroom, that will tell us what occurred today. Because apparently they actually did have hearings today, and it was very interesting. So let me speak to you guys as you come in. Hey, for real, Linda, CBBJ. Hey, Harold. Hey, Nina, Andre. I know I'm gonna mess your name up. I'm sorry. Good evening, though. Kathy, Marlana, Coco JB, Jean, Renee. Of course, you know, Deb is in the building. St. James, Miss V, Jackie. Okay, Von Renee, you guys slowly trickling in here. Stephanie, I know it's been a minute. I've been like super busy, but you know, I had to come on because I feel like I'm getting so behind on the content now. Thank you, Mimi. I appreciate it. Thank you. Tell all your friends all about the channel. We're growing. And we probably will also have we've never really had a celebration, but why not? I may go ahead and try to have a celebration because we have made it over 6,000. We're about 6,400 or so now. But yeah, and it's all thanks to you and all of your support with the channel. And I appreciate it. And I love each and every one of you guys for rocking with your girl. And because we haven't been around here that long, and we're doing pretty good. Hey. Thank you to all of my moms, Dr. Mary McWilliams. Hey. Some of you guys probably saw, I know last night I was over there on Contest. I popped in for a minute. Thank you guys for all of your support and your kind words. And yeah, you know, when I don't windmill for myself, I know that a lot of you guys, you don't have to, and I don't ask you to. But you guys stand up like, hey, that don't sound like Pam. So that I appreciate as well, because you guys don't have to be nice. And so I'm grateful. So anyways, I don't know how long ago, maybe a month ago, we went over. There was a motion for a new trial that was filed by Jose Baez. We had the attorney for the government, they filed a response. And we went over those, and these were some of the claims. We're just going to briefly go on until our guest comes on and tell us what happened today. For those that are not familiar with the Tory Lanez case involving Meg the Stallion, let's see. So yeah, this is the motion, the notice for a motion for a new trial. It was filed March 29th of 2023. We went over this in the prior video, so I'm not trying to go over it like that again. But essentially, let me briefly say the claims that the defense is alleging that this judge, this is a difference between an appeal. This is not the same thing. A motion for a new trial goes before the trial judge. If you have an appeal, it goes to an appellate judge. So this is actually being heard in front of the exact same judge that was resided over the case. Just for you guys to know. Let me add you on here. Hey.
Hey, love. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I just made it home. I showered, refreshed, threw on my temple. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just kind of going over briefly what the motion that was filed was, because we went over this a few videos ago.
Okay.
I'm going to go over that real quick, and then I'm going to have you introduce yourself, and then we'll go on with what happened today.
Okay.
All right. So Jose Baez pretty much filed a motion. I'm just going to tell you what his claims were that should grant a new trial. Let's see. All right. Since we'll just get to. Let me stop. All right, so introduce yourself to everyone so they know who you are, and then I want you to give us a summary of what happened today in court.
Okay, hi family. How are you? My name is Afi Patterson. I am LA based. Right now I'm an entertainment attorney, but I've got a background in criminal law, domestic and international. I used to try a lot of felony cases, negotiate a lot of plea deals. Dealt with a lot of rape and murder trials. So that's my background.
Okay.
Bam, bam.
Well, I thank you so much for coming on today. So you were present. Typically, I was trying to be there, but I'm over here on the East Coast, and it just wasn't working out, all of those delays. But I heard they actually had a hearing today. So I know you said that you took copious notes, and I know that you did, because I've been in court with you, so I know how you roll. So if you could just tell us, I'm just going to be quiet. I know that you have limited time, so if you could just tell my audience what happened today.
It was so long. So, I thought that Baez was going to focus on the DNA, because if you notice in social media, he's been talking a lot about the DNA, but the DNA was not the crux of this case at all. And I think that the judge agreed with that. The DNA wasn't an issue. He said that McDezian could have objected. He didn't. Both sides had an opportunity to offer their own DNA experts. Not really an issue. But it started with Baez. It was Baez and whoever the co-counsel is. I don't really know his name. Yeah. One of them asked to approach, and the judge declined. And then he said, well, I'd like to approach just to make some housekeeping measures, and he said, no, let's get to it. So basically, Baez was saying this whole trial is based on, or the whole motion for a retrial was based on McDezian's ineffective assistance of counsel. He just essentially called him, he didn't want to, but he said he was ineffective. he only had about 2 weeks to prepare for the trial. And he also, you remember he filed a supplemental motion under seal?
Right. What was that all about?
I'm pretty sure it had to do with Sean Hawley.
What?
I have like pages and pages and pages of notes, but he was saying, Baez was saying that this trial was about bribery. And he mentioned supposedly, I think it was about 72 times that bribery was intimated or mentioned. And the bribery involving whatever I think the driver Quan said to Kelsey, and whatever Tory at another date may have said to Kelsey, like, let me invest in your business. What do you want? What can I help you with? And I think during the trial, it was mentioned that Tory got that advice from Sean Hawley. So when that was brought up in the preliminary hearings or pre-trial, when Sean Hawley heard about that, she kind of effectively pulled out and replaced herself with McDezian and, his partner. And there were so many times where the judge said, hey, why didn't McDezian object? He could have objected. Why didn't he? And Baez eventually said it's ineffective assistance, again, which he didn't want to do. And he mentioned, I like to be respectful to a jurisdiction that is not my own. You don't want to walk into another state, another jurisdiction, and start calling out attorneys. That's not a great look. So, I could break it down even further, but it was, I think the judge was not in the mood today to hear much of anything. So I could break it down for you later.
So with the ineffective assistance, so I heard a lot about the judge's mood today. So it was different than how he typically is. Was he like snapping on people, cutting them off? Was it just to the defense? Because I heard that it seemed like a little bit of bias towards the defense, or was it just bias? I mean, he just had a bad attitude or was in a different mood today.
Okay. So Baez wanted to, they had a whole presentation that they wanted to put on. They wanted to put people on and have, have testimony. And the judge was saying, this is not a retrial. I'll accept your offer of proof. I'll accept these declarations. But their whole strategy, I think, hinged on having these people come and testify. And so, for example, Baez wanted to start with out of order. But the judge said, hey, we're going to start in order according to how you filed the motion. We're going to start with issue 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I think issues 3 and 7 are tied together because those are the issues dealing with Sean Hawley and McDezian. So Baez objected to the court's process of going in numerical order. These are my notes. Baez acknowledges that he is not from this jurisdiction, but he's always allowed to put forth his motion the way he sees fit and the way that it's most persuasive for his client.
Oh, wow.
He said he doesn't want to impugn the integrity of a very well-known attorney, and that's why he filed the supplemental motion under seal. Baez said he is being prejudiced, and he said the court is boxing him in by not allowing him to present his arguments the way that he wants to.
And what the judge said, you don't practice here, so that's probably...
Well, I think the judge has a lot of leeway. He's got a lot of latitude to run his court how he wants to. But the judge said, this is the way you presented it. This is the way we're taking it. And he said he'd allow him to address, I think it's number 3 and 7 or 4 and 7. I'm not sure. But he said he'd allow him to address those together. But they were really shaken by that. And they had to take a recess. I think that was our first time taking like a 15-minute recess so they could regroup and re-strategize. So it was definitely, it was interesting. It was heavy. It was sad.
How was Tory's demeanor?
He was fine. He was himself. He was pretty stoic. At the end, I think I messaged you. He said to the judge, because I think he felt that it just really didn't go his way today. And he said, please don't ruin my life. And he said that 3 times. And people were pretty, shaken. But it was very, very heavy. Let me tell you something that I thought was really, really interesting. Something I want to look up. There was a ruling that is now retroactive. It was decided in January. I'm not really sure, but I think it has to do with rap lyrics. So they kind of put forth the argument that there's some, because the rap lyrics were allowed, the picture of Tory when they did the, what do you call it, the gunshot residue test, that picture of him with the gun on his abdomen and a do-rag, you know, it was just implicit bias. They were like, basically, you're saying this is a black man, he's a rapper, he's got a do-rag and tattoos, and you're also calling him, I guess, what do you call, a misogynist is the word he used, because that's how they were painting the picture, you know. And that's what Baez was arguing, that like, you let this evidence in and this is how we're painting the picture. And they also talked a lot about Kelsey's 80-minute statement. There's so much to unpack with that. But let me tell you though, if I were McDeasian, I would have been objecting all day, every day.
Oh yeah.
Every single moment, all day, every day to that. But he didn't. He sat silent.
Not one time.
There was so much stuff that was let in, and Baez was talking about, and the judge was like, you know, this is double hearsay. You know, do you remember Quan's statement to Kelsey allegedly? Oh, they do this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
What else was there? Was so much double hearsay in there, and the judge was basically like, McDeasian had an opportunity to object. He didn't. You know, McDeasian had an opportunity to request that certain portions be redacted. He didn't. I think that was very, very damning, the whole 80-minute statement, because it was very colorful. It just brought everything to life. So,
and the jury asked to see it again. Like, remember the jury deliberations? They asked to watch that again or see the transcripts. So,
that's
but yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for hopping on. I know you just got home, and then tomorrow, the judge is supposed to have a decision tomorrow. Is that how?
Yeah. Can you hold on really quickly? I gotta open the door. 1 second.
So there you have it, guys. I was not there, but she was there in the courtroom today. We're gonna go over once she gets off, because she has the limited time frame. But we're gonna go over what led up into this, where we know that Tory was putting out certain, I don't know if it's evidence, but he was trying to kind of sway the public opinion a week or two before this happened. Do you have anything else that you want to add before?
No. Look, thank you for having me. I'm so excited and happy. But I do have, if you go subscribe on the Black Letter Law, I'm going to go ahead and post. I have the 80-minute document.
Okay.
Excuse me, the 80-minute audio recording, and it matches up with the transcript. I put it together. So if you guys want to go and check that out, that would be cool.
Okay. What is your is that your Black
Mm-hmm.
Letter Law? Okay.
Yeah, the Black Letter Law. So I'm gonna post it sometime between tonight and in the morning. So if you guys want to check it out and listen to it.
So you guys go over there. That's her YouTube channel. So go over there and subscribe.
Yeah, thank you for having me
over there. Of course. And if you have time tomorrow or whatever happens tomorrow, make sure you let me know. I appreciate you for giving me all the scoop as it was happening. She was sending quotes. I'm like, okay.
It was intense. Today was really intense. So, but anyway, it was good seeing you.
All right,
family. Bye.
All right, we'll talk soon. So, hey guys, there we have it. Now, I told you I wasn't going to be there, but I was going to get the inside information. Okay, so we did do a poll, and we're going to get back to this or whatever. We had to go a little out of order because she had something to do. Let's see. I did a poll, and that's why I did the poll, guys, because I just wanted to see. I knew we were going to talk about this today. So let's see. Did you guys check the poll out? So I asked, should Tory Lanez be granted a new trial, and the choices were yes, give that man a new trial, or no, sentence him, please. We had 73% of you guys was like, no, sentence him, please. And we had 27% say yes, give that man a new trial. And that was out of 300 and something votes. So anyways, for you guys that need somewhat of a recap, because like I said, we did it backwards. I wanted to make sure that we had the information for what happened today. As you guys heard, the motions for a new trial, the arguments happened today. It sounds like Jose Baez was trying to put up what we call an evidentiary hearing, where you actually put on evidence because he had witnesses. However, we don't do, unless it's called an evidentiary hearing, we don't take testimony like that either here. So that was interesting that he said that he's able to present it the way he wants to. So he was ready. He came up in there ready to roll. He was about to, he probably had all type of pointers and flashcards and charts and everything else that he had on there or whatnot. So the motion we went over, like I said, we went over before the motion for a new trial. We also went over the response. I took it down because so let's go over that real quick. If you guys got some time, we're just gonna take our time and make sure that we have an understanding. I'm not gonna go over all of it, like I said, because it was quite long. It was 80 pages. So, but I just wanted you guys to know these are, and I'm gonna get back. Thank you guys for the cash apps. I appreciate it. I'm trying to get to it. You see that say 84 pages up there? I'm trying to get you guys to the get down. So they talk about the post that was admitted. They say that that was in violation of the statutory notice requirement. That's the Instagram post. So if you guys recall, there was an Instagram post of which I think it was on the Shade Room, where some random person on the Shade Room said Kelsey shot Meg, and someone from Tory's account said no, she didn't, or something like that. I'm paraphrasing. That ended up being admitted. Apparently, they weren't expecting it to be admitted, they being the defense. So that's one of the issues that they have. And they also said that there was no proof that Tory was the one who actually posted it, because he has Instagram managers that manage his account. And essentially the government said, well, why didn't you just call the Instagram manager as the witness? You could have easily debunked that. And if you felt like it was late notice, you could have asked for an adjournment and then brought somebody in if you thought it was that important. But since you didn't do it, then oh well, oh swell. So that was one of their first issues. Then we have, they're still talking about that same post. Same post. It's about 4 different reasons why they're saying that the post should not have been admitted. Improper admission of alleged inculpatory statement by the defendant. And they're saying because inculpatory statements which tended to incriminate defendant as the shooter were improperly introduced at trial, despite their factual falsity. On July 16, 2020, during an interview with Detective Ryan Stogner, Pete says, this is Megan Pete, or Meg the Stallion, stated that following the shooting, defendant exclaimed to her, "Please don't say anything because I'm on probation." At trial, Pete testified that after the shooting, defendant said, "I can't go to jail. I already got caught with the GUN before. I can't go to jail no more. I'm already on probation." However, a further investigation concluded that defendant was not on probation at the time of the case was happening in July 2020, nor had he ever been convicted of a firearms charge. Instead, he had been arrested in 2017 for a case that resulted in diversion in Broward County. So essentially, Meg the Stallion testified these statements that I just said, and according to the defense, because he really wasn't on probation. They're saying that this was introduced and it shouldn't have been introduced because he really wasn't on probation. But what happened is in 2017, Tory Lanez apparently did pick up a charge. He was arrested for some type of a gun charge, but it resulted in what we call a diversion program. So a diversion program is, I try to advise everybody, you always try to get one because that's your automatic second chance almost. Because if you get community service, anger management, whatever they tell you you need, if you complete it and show the court that you completed, then they dismiss your case. So it's almost like an automatic expungement. So apparently the way it was admitted, the defense had a problem with that because, yeah. Then they say the violation of defendant's right to counsel. So this is about Sean Holly, which we all keep hearing about. And Sean Holly is the attorney that was the female that represented Tory Lanez, where people kept asking, like, where's Sean Holly when we seen Magdalene, which is the guy that took over. I'm probably saying his name, or Magdalene, probably saying his name wrong. But from near the inception of defendant's prosecution, he was represented by retained counsel Sean Holly, at least in part for tactical reasons. She is a female attorney, and he was facing charges alleging violence against women. If you guys recall, I said that. I was like, I'm wondering why they had both males sitting there who always had these stoic looking faces. And, you know, you have a jury that's watching everything around in the courtroom, even who you have as your attorney. Even if you guys are watching right now, Trump, well, they had closing arguments in the Trump trial where he's accused of some inappropriate things in New York, and it's happening now, when he just, denied. He didn't testify. He said he didn't want to testify. When the media started talking about the men on his team, you notice that they all of a sudden had a female sitting at the table, because sometimes it's just the look of like these men badgering the women that are the victims. So anyway, on or around September 14, 2022, it was informally alleged by the people that the defendant, being aided and abetted by his defense team, had extended a bribe to Harris by way of financial and or business benefits. That's what the attorney, Ms. Patterson, that just came on, was talking about. When these allegations came to light, Attorney Holly approached the prosecuting attorney, Kathy Todd, to express that the defense team was not involved in the alleged bribery, a position with the state apparently accepted as true at the time. Nonetheless, after representing the defendant for more than 2 years, 12 days prior to the start of trial, Attorney Holly stepped back in her role as primary counsel for defendant. Secondary counsel from the defense team, George Magdalene and Sacris, I can't say his name, Manukian, stepped into Attorney Holly's former role, diminishing the impact of defendants' above described tactical maneuver of having a female representation. And then they're also kind of saying that they weren't prepared. They apparently today there was arguments that Tory's attorneys were not prepared because Holly was the main attorney. When you look at this, it does look like, in my mind, that they were going to try to make an ineffective assistance of counsel, but they're trying not to make it. Because when I was there a month ago, when they ended up postponing today's date, it was supposed to happen earlier, I think last month. Magdalene was there. He was actually at the court for the hearing. So that's why I'm like, oh wow. So I guess they must have forced him to say, so you're saying that their attorney was ineffective, pretty much. And he didn't really want to say it, according to, as you hear today, they really didn't want to call him ineffective, but apparently they didn't have a choice today. So that's the other issue that they're saying should grant him a new trial. The prosecution prejudicially interfered with defendant's right to counsel. That's pretty much the same claim, what we just described. So that sounds like the biggest issue that happened today was talking about the conflict with the ineffectiveness of the new trial, the new attorney that took over Sean Holly. It's just a lot. So, anyways, this is just to refresh. And then the government responded with 16 pages pretty much. They didn't they were like, yeah, whatever. You're not really raising, basically, you haven't raised any new issues. You're trying to retry this whole case with the same stuff that we already talked about in the trial. Judge deny it. So after these motions were filed, when I went to California the last time I went, the reason why they postponed it was because Jose Baez said that he needed time to file a supplement and he was going to file it in a week. A week came and then he said he needed more time. So then he files it and he files it under seal. So everybody was asking, well, Pam, why would you file it under seal? I'm like, I don't know why they filed it under seal. So it sounds like there was some attorney-client privilege type issues because you have the issues were about attorneys. So that's why I would suspect it was under seal, because there were probably some issues that were addressed that would break the attorney-client privilege communication. So prior to this today's date, I want you guys, if you recall, if you guys follow this, Tory Lanez said that up until the hearing, he was going to continuously post information. So we were all sitting there waiting, like, what new information does he have? Because I was thinking, like, I know you got to have some new information. You certainly aren't going to put any old information. And we had the pleadings, so we pretty much knew what your arguments were. So I want to put that up. This was the letter. He ended up writing a letter to the prosecutor. And that took its round on social media. So it has, Dear George Gaskin, I write this message with the utmost humility, love, and respect for the remarkable stance you've taken in regards to fighting for the justice of Black and brown minorities. Today, I take a stance as an innocent Black man, wrongfully convicted of a crime I did not commit. I've watched 2 district attorneys from your office by the names of Kathy Todd and Alex Bott unlawfully misuse their authority to hide and suppress any and all exculpatory evidence, that means evidence in his favor, that exonerates me or furthers my innocence. I was completely robbed and deprived of a fair trial. On May 8th, my lawyers will be arguing a motion for a new trial. Not only do I owe it to myself to fight for my freedom, but I owe it to my 6-year-old child, my family, fans, and most importantly, the hundreds of thousands of Black and Hispanic minorities that cannot adequately fight for themselves. For 3 years, the prosecution has manipulated a false narrative that has left me with no choice but to expose and make aware the practices, the behind door deals, and the unjust system used to illegally convict me and countless other minorities. We elected you because of your outstanding eminence in making fair and correct judgments in the justice of people of color. Mr. Gaskin, I come to you today as a wrongfully convicted man, not asking for sympathy nor compassion, but for you to simply do what is fair and right by the laws of California, and most importantly, the eyes of God. Woo, child said, why did I know the child was going to be in the letter somehow, some way? Well, because he totally brought his kid to every hearing until he got locked up. And what kind of fool write that letter before sentencing and before hiring for a new trial? Like, what the heck? I'm accusing the DNA and the court of illegalities and corruption. What movie is this? Yes, you guys, please hit that like and hit the share. I'm gonna go. You said Gaskin is the reason Kaepernick started kneeling. Really? This is my brother. Do tell. Really? So why is he praising him in this letter if it sounds like he made Kaepernick kneel? Or are you just saying that? Are you serious? I need more elaboration, bro. Andre said either Sean Holly did advise Tory to say that or he lied on her and she decided to wash her hands of him. That is true. That is true. Because if I was an attorney and somebody said, hey, what do you need? Just don't testify. What business do you want? We'll help you because my attorney told me I gotta phrase it like this. Like, so I guess so it doesn't look like a bribe, is what it sounded like. I think I would have recused myself too and kept it moving. But if you recall, Andrew, it was Sean Holly. We had the letter from Sean Holly, and she said that's not the reason why she left. She was saying Sean Holly said she left because she had a conflict. And it was Tory's attorney tried to say she left because of what you're saying, because they were accusing like bribery. So the government attached the letter from Sean Holly, and it has Judge Hereford, as the court is aware, I did not appear at Mr. Peterson's trial due to my engagement in an arbitration out of state, which began in May and did not conclude until December 16, 2022. Mr. Peterson understood and agreed that George Magdesian would represent him at trial and that I would not. I am advised that attorney David Kenner has now been retained to substitute in as counsel for Mr. Peterson, though it may not necessary for me to do so under these unique circumstances. I thought it important to advise the court that I have no objection to the substitution and hereby offer my consent. This was after the trial that Sean Holly sent this. So this was January 10th of 2023. So this was after the trial. So remember, Keener was supposed to be the one that was going to take over. And then all of a sudden we saw Jose Baez, which was the attorney who got Casey Anthony off. That's a whole nother situation within itself, right? Then Tory, after that, we were waiting. We was just sitting there waiting, waiting on Tory to come with some new information. And he did some voice, let's see. He did some voice recordings. And let me see. I don't know what order it's in, but we'll play it.
I write this message with the utmost humility, love, and respect for the remarkable steps that you've taken in regards to fighting for the justice of black and brown minorities. Today I take a stance as an innocent black man, wrongfully convicted of a crime I did not commit. I've watched two district attorneys from your office by the names of Kathy Tarr and Alex Bott unlawfully misuse their authority to hide and suppress any and all exculpatory evidence that exonerates me and furthers my innocence. I was completely robbed and deprived of a fair trial. So on May 8th, my lawyers will be arguing a motion for a new trial. Not only do I owe it to myself to fight for my freedom, but I owe it to my 6-year-old child, my family, my fans, and most importantly, the hundreds and thousands of black and Hispanic minorities that cannot adequately fight for themselves. For 3 years, the prosecution has manipulated a false narrative that has left me with no choice but to expose the practices, the behind-door deals, and the unjust system that was used to illegally convict me and countless other minorities. We elected you because of your outstanding eminence in making fair and correct judgments in the justice for people of color. So, Mr. Gascon, I come to you today as a wrongfully convicted black man, not asking for sympathy nor compassion, but for you to simply do what is fair and right in the laws of California, and most importantly, in the eyes of God.
So essentially, he said almost the same thing, if not verbatim, that we read. So Stephen said, let me see. Gaskin was the DA in San Francisco. He let the cops go free who killed Mario Woods. San Francisco ran him out and we were dumb and elected him. So why does he think he gonna do the right? Maybe he doesn't know his history then, because why you think this man gonna do something different then if that's the case? Okay. And then there was another audio that came. I know you guys are probably over it, but yeah, he did a whole nother audio and we discussed the DNA. Let's see.
Incarcerated for almost half the year over a gun that the DAs lied and said I shot. In 2021, they demanded I take a DNA test. I took that test with no pushback, delay, or question. Not only because I knew I never shot the gun, but mainly because I was 100% positive I never even touched this gun. In my trial, the verdict of guilty or innocent depended heavily on my DNA results. With the help of LA Crime Lab's DNA expert Randy Zepeda, DA Kathy Tarr and Alex Bott completely manipulated my DNA results and lied to the world, the media, and most importantly, my jury by stating my DNA on the gun was inconclusive. That was an absolute lie. They went on further to say, inconclusive means that he cannot be excluded from the gun. My new attorney, Jose Baez, hired one of the best DNA experts in the nation to carefully analyze the same DNA test.
Let me stop you right here, Tory. So what your former attorney should have got the best expert to go ahead and refute whatever this expert is for. That's why you do witness lists and you have experts that you can get. Usually you get them outside of your state. You go to another state, you get you an expert, you present all of your documents, you present what the government has as their expert, and you hire an expert to try to refute them. That's kind of like how that works. So I know the judge is probably going to say nobody prevented you from hiring an expert, and you obviously knew that the government had an expert when you had your trial. But you go ahead.
Fair and correct way. The results came back exactly as I knew this whole time. My DNA is 100% excluded and 100% eliminated from the gun. In other words, it's physically and scientifically impossible for me to ever have touched or shot this gun. After the correct and careful analyzation of my DNA testing, not only did our expert find my DNA 100% excluded and non-existent on the gun, but what's worse was the invalid and illegal tactics the prosecution chose to attain the results used to convict me. Based on the fundamentals of my DNA test, the only possible way for the LA Crime Lab to come up with an inconclusive result would literally be to stop the testing before it finished or completed its final result, which would have and should have shown completely my full exclusion on the weapon. In other words, District Attorneys Kathy Tarr and Alex Bott lied to my jury with false, incorrect, and incomplete DNA results, violating my due process and my 14th Amendment rights. My faith, my prayers, and my highest hopes go to the Honorable Judge Hereford that on May 8th, he rules in favor of the United States Supreme Court law, returning me to my freedom, my family, and most importantly, the justice of a fair trial.
So this is the information he wanted to give about the DNA. If you guys recall, there was an expert that came and said that the DNA was inconclusive. And he was, I think when it came to the gun clip, he was eliminated. But when it came to, was it the handle? I don't want to give you false information because I know it's some for real Tory diehards on here, and I ain't trying to make nobody mad with the false information because I don't have my notes in front of me. But it was one where he was eliminated, and one where it was like inconclusive. So this inconclusive, now he's saying he's totally eliminated. We know inconclusive means it could be you and it could not be you. That's pretty much what it is. So he's saying they got some expert, and the expert basically said that he was eliminated. It was he 100% was eliminated, is what he's saying.
I've been incarcerated for almost half the year over a gun that the DAs lied and said I shot. In 2021, they demanded I take a DNA test. I took that test with no pushback, delay, or question. Not only because I knew I never shot the gun, but mainly because I was 100% positive I never even touched this gun. In my trial, the verdict of guilty or innocent depended heavily on my DNA results. With the help of LA Crime Lab's DNA expert Randy Zepeda, DA Kathy Tarr and Alex Bott completely manipulated my DNA results and lied to the world, the media, and most importantly, my...
But how did they manipulate the results when the expert was the one that gave them the results? They didn't give the results. It's interesting.
Jury by stating my DNA on the gun was inconclusive. That was an absolute lie. They went on further to say inconclusive means that he cannot be excluded from the gun. My new attorney, Jose Baez, hired one of the best DNA experts in the nation to carefully analyze the same DNA test the fair and correct way. The results came back exactly as I knew this whole time. My DNA is 100% excluded and 100% eliminated from the gun. In other words, it's physically and scientifically impossible for me to ever have touched or shot this gun. After the correct and careful analyzation of my DNA testing, not only did our expert find my DNA 100% excluded and non-existent on the gun, but what's worse was the invalid and illegal tactics the prosecution chose to attain the results used to convict me. Based on the fundamentals of my DNA test, the only possible way for the LA Crime Lab to come up with an inconclusive result would literally be to stop the testing before it finished or completed its final result, which would have and should have shown completely my full exclusion on the weapon. In other words, District Attorneys Kathy Tarr and Alex Bott lied to my jury with false, incorrect, and incomplete DNA results, violating my due process and my 14th.
Okay, hold on 1 second, Tori. Okay, we gotta wait 1 second. Thank you so much, Cupcakes. I appreciate the super chat. All right. I really do appreciate the love you always support. Man, I appreciate it.
Amendment rights. My faith, my prayers, and my highest hopes go to the Honorable Judge Hereford that on May 8th, he rules in favor of the United States Supreme Court law, returning me to my freedom, my family, and most importantly, the justice of a fair trial.
So that was pretty much all of the information that came up. Thank you, Cynthia Harrell, for the super sticker. I really appreciate it. You guys don't have to do it, but I'm so glad that you did. If you guys are just coming in, it's 300 of you guys. Hit the like for me. I put the link and I pinned it. If anybody would like to come up, and we are waiting on the court's ruling. The court told them to come back tomorrow at 10:30 and he'll have an opinion. If anybody wants to come on here and talk about Tory Lanez and Meg Thee Stallion, this is your opportunity to tell me how you feel. Okay? If not, that's cool too.
All right.
Oh, wait a minute. You want to keep talking? Okay. You said, Kelsey said she didn't do it. When Quan showed up, Tory's own lawyer said he intended to testify that neither he nor Kelsey shot her unless he's trying to say Meg shot herself. That left Tory. She said, Andre said process of elimination, pretty much. It's crazy because you know what I thought? This is what I thought, guys. I thought they found some, and maybe I just, with what I do, I find witnesses and people that maybe have been too scared to testify before or didn't want to say whatever information they had. So what I thought was they had it under seal because some new person was going to come and they had a Ring camera or something and they found them and they did an interview and they were going to come in with new evidence. Because, you know, if you have new evidence, a lot of people get new trials based on new evidence that wasn't available at the time. Now, you do have to show that for some reason you weren't able to obtain that evidence at the time. But that's how a lot of people, you know, that are wrongfully convicted end up getting exonerated, right? So when I seen that all he was talking about was DNA and that they held exculpatory evidence, then I read the pleading that mentioned you didn't like the post and ineffective assistance of counsel. I'm like, oh my, okay. Hey Pam, Tory's a gaslighter. If prosecutor lied, did the witnesses lie? His attorney could have refuted lies, if any. Please update lie more case. Oh, you want to move on, huh? We'll get to him eventually. It's a lot of litigation with him, so I just, you know, I have to be careful and mindful of the litigation that goes on with him because I know he's made it clear he watches my channel. So now I have to be mindful not to give the ops the heads up. So I'm putting something together because I did see a lot of discrepancies on the internet related to the Glory of God situation over the weekend. So I did want to kind of clarify that. So I may have to do a clarify video because there was a lot of confusion. Not all of the DNA was inconclusive. You said That would have been juicy, but we dealing with Lil Man. I did. I was like, under seal, it's gonna be. See, I was thinking. I said maybe one of the bodyguards came forward and they got secret recording of Kelsey or somebody. I had all type of scenarios in my head because I have seen some of the strangest things when you do wrongful convictions. So that's what I was thinking. So then when he came with these audios and stuff, I was like, okay. Yeah, I did see somebody mentioned some YouTubers that were there and then they weren't I guess they were kicked out or told they couldn't be there. But what happened with that was there was an issue prior to because they were there as media. Like when I go, I go as media as well. But they were there as media and there were rules that were in the court and allegedly they violated those rules. So they sent us all letters like saying if you come back, you have to, basically affirm that you're not going to violate these rules. But apparently they got separate letters that they weren't to come. So I think they thought they just couldn't come as media, but apparently they said that they couldn't come, period. So that's what that was about. So there were some Instagram posts, I think that were posted where they were like, they literally had pictures of us like we was on a milk carton telling us we couldn't come in for the hearing. So yeah, that's what happened with that. I saw that question earlier, so I wanted to address it. We are talking about a leprechaun who was mistaken for a woman when he beat the stew out of Kelsey. Honey, he's liable to say. You are on one, Andrew. Goodness. So, all right, y'all. Well, that is the latest update on Tory Lanez. We will have, I don't know, maybe I'll do a short video on whatever the judge decides to do. I don't know if I would want to come on totally for that. But we'll see. But I'll definitely keep you guys updated. I told you guys that I have to conclude whatever I start. And sometimes, as you see, it's to my detriment because some cases are lasting on and on and on and on, and they just won't stop. This one is kind of the same way, guys, because first of all, for those of you that are new and don't know, I literally woke up one day and I was like, me and my son were talking about this case. And so I said, I don't know. I don't even know I knew who Meg Thee Stallion was. I knew one of the songs. That's it, one song. And then I didn't know who Tory was at all. So he had to explain to me who Tory was. And then he was really like one of those Kelsey did it people. Like that's how my son was. Kelsey did it, whatever. So I'm like, who is Kelsey? Who are these people? So then I was like, you know what? I think I want to go to California. So I asked Dev, I'm like, let's go to California and go check this case out. And he's like looking at me all strange because really that's out of my element. I am a stay-at-home type of a gal. I'm not, if I could stay home, then I'm going to stay home. So I'm trying to, be a little bit more adventurous. So I said, I'm going to go ahead. I'll do it, for my viewers on YouTube. It's a case. I can be in the courtroom and I can give more detail because I take notes all the time, obviously in court. So I know what's important and maybe I can present it or whatever to the platform. It ended up turning out, as you've seen, that I was on other platforms as well that were doing documentaries, which is crazy because that was not my intent. So I go down there and we go and I go and I'm like, oh, I seen what the case was about. I said, oh, this is going to be 3 days. Man, that judge, we get in there. That judge was pretty much like, okay, we start at 10:30. We take lunch at 12. So that's only an hour and a half. We have an hour and a half lunch. So you come back at 1:30 and then you break for the day at 4. He doesn't care if you're in the middle of cross. He didn't care if you was in the middle of your opening statement. He didn't care if you was in the middle of a question. He was like, it's 4 o'clock, time to go. We'll adjourn till tomorrow. So you might have gotten a good 4 hours out the whole day. So in my opinion, this should have been a 3-day trial and it spread for 2 weeks. So remember, we had delays because we ended up having a snowstorm here. So we spent Christmas. Shout out to my brother. He had to like do the meal and got my baby some presents because only, our daughter was with us. And it was like crazy. So then when I was trying to leave, it was like I might as well stay to the end since I've been here this long. So that's how I got wrapped up in this case. So it was very interesting just seeing everyone's opinions and feedbacks and how people look at cases. And I'm like, this is like a simple 3-day trial. Why is this taking so long? So when these motions happen, it's kind of doing the same thing, right? The motions filed. First, it was a sentencing date. Then they get another attorney and it's a motion. Then they postpone it for another month. Then they postpone it for another month. Then they got so it's doing the same thing. Then to find out that Jose Baez came on, he was going to put on a whole show. He was going to put on a whole production. You got witnesses to take the stand and everything. I just thought this case has been very, very interesting. And I don't know if it's California. So they have so many high profile cases at the same time that I don't even know if that would even be the case, because at the same time you had Nipsey Hussle was happening. You had Harvey Weinstein was happening at the same time while we were down there. You think Gloria Allright was there I think she was there because of the Harvey Weinstein, now that I think about it, because she's the pro, the Me Too movement or whatever. She was there because I met her when I was down there. Yeah, it turned out crazy. So now you guys got to hear my whole crazy journey because I went down there. So I was like, no, we're all going to talk about, Hey, Chef Don Don, thank you for coming over here. You said Los Angeles County courts are trash in that aspect. They're not paying the county employees overtime for all of that. I'm an employee. I know. I'm sorry, Ravish. But yeah, it was very inefficient to me. It was very inefficient. And what my eyes have been open going to different courts, as you guys seen. Whatever case I'm on, I'm probably going to end up going to that court because I want to see for myself, because the pleadings are one thing and the arguments are another. Actually talking to witnesses or talking to attorneys gives you a different perspective as well. Meeting new people and other attorneys and get their perspectives as well. I think that brings a variety to this channel. I don't want it to just be Pam's opinion and how Pam, because I don't practice like the next person. I don't practice like attorneys in New York. I don't practice like attorneys in North Carolina. I've been in a lot of those courts and sat there and seen the differences or whatnot. So that's why I tried to go, just to give you guys the feel of it. But yeah. Anyway, Chef Don Don, do you have a opinion? Because you can come on. I put the link. I think I pinned it. If you want to come on and talk about Tory Lanez, you're welcome to come on. I don't want to, catch you off guard like everybody does me in the chat. They like, hey, come on. I don't want to do that. Yes, you guys, please hit that like. Subscribe if you haven't done so too. You said, Pam, if you come to Cali, let us know. We'll take care of you, keep you company over a fight. It'll be fun. Okay. I'll definitely keep that in mind. You guys are the best, man. A motion to set aside a verdict is almost impossible when I'm sure this motion will be done. Mr. CKB. He's another content creator. Go check him out. Yeah, you're pretty much right. You're basically going to a judge and saying, Judge, you made a mistake on all of your rulings almost. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of the stuff they're objecting to, first of all, Tory's attorney didn't object much. So that's why I was curious to see how you were going to get through the appellate process and you didn't preserve anything. When you object, like I know you guys probably don't know, but when you watch Law and Order and all those other law shows and they say objection, on the law shows, they don't make you give a reason. In real life, they make you give a reason. So you object and you say your reason and it's hearsay, assumes facts not into evidence, irrelevant, or you just approach the bench because you don't want the the jury to hear whatever you're talking about. That's how you preserve the record. And if the judge doesn't rule in your favor, then you've preserved it. Or you say, Judge, a lot of times, like the judge will cut you off, and I'm like, hey, Judge, I have to preserve the record. I have to put on the record what my issue is. And maybe that needs to happen outside of the province of the jury, because I'm going to appeal you. Like, I've told judges that, like, this is an appellate issue and I'm going to appeal you. And I have no problem doing that if it's something that should happen. So the fact that Tory's attorney didn't object much, that I was concerned about that, because it was a few times, I'm not joking, guys, I was back there in them seats and I was like, oh yeah, this ain't my case. That's how I was. I was like, oh, this ain't my case. It was almost instinctive when certain things happen. Objection, Your Honor, here. Like, I was like, oh, it was a couple of times people next to me had to hold me like, girl, you here just observing as a legal commentator. Like, what are you doing? But it's so instinctive for me that I couldn't even like almost control myself sometimes. It was like, I was getting mad. I was like, why aren't you objecting to this? I'm like, is this something you guys already talked about and did a motion in limine to try to deal with this already? And you guys know I told you a motion in limine is you try to deal with evidentiary issues before you go to trial. So that's either you can do motion in limines to make sure something is inadmissible so they can't bring it up, or you can do it to make sure something comes in. So I was just thinking, like, maybe there are some motions filed that I don't know about. But now that I'm looking at these pleadings, and I'm also looking at what you heard happen today at the beginning of this video, it doesn't sound like there were any objections. So there's going to be an issue with preserving those issues. So anyways, you said every good attorney I saw said the exact same thing. I was like, oh, yeah, it was a couple of times. And it was like a few times. I did talk to Tory's attorney a few times. And I'm like, saying little things or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I'm an attorney. I'm in Detroit, though. I'm not from around here. I make it very clear when I'm in other people's backyard. But yeah, I think it could have been better with some of those objections, in my opinion. But yeah, anyways, since none of y'all want to come on with me, it's all good. I'm about to go eat. It's 9 o'clock. You guys make sure you hit that like on your way out the building. Let me do cash apps. Let me see. Did get a few. Sandra, thank you for the cash app. LaVersa, thank you for the cash app. Miss Renee, thank you so much for the cash app. I appreciate the love, because you didn't have to do it, but I'm so glad that you did. You guys, I'm going to try to come back on today. Thank you guys for rocking with me this Monday evening. Again, hit that like if you haven't done so already. And thank you, Tammy, for the cash app. I appreciate it. I ain't got the bop like Chef Don. I got to give me a bop like him when you guys, hit that cash app. I got to step my game up over here. He over there, how you guys rocking for the cash app. But I'm going to leave y'all with my son's intro again. And you guys can rock to this on your way out. Thank you guys so much. And I'm going to holler at you guys next time.
Yeah. So many lies that you hear from the net, they don't get her respect. She reporting the truth, not a check. You want an unbiased opinion straight from the chest. Not a bit of accomplice or someone here for a check. Tune in, these are thoughts from a lawyer on a mission who goes so hard it's like she works on commission. Trolls in the comments might say she tripping cause they lack the knowledge. They don't know they missing. Got a couple current events that you like. Wanna know about law from the eyes. Tired of all these blogs running lies because their agendas are disguised. Tune in to the intellect. Cause I'm sure y'all missing all the facts of the case that she steady is gifting. Someone here for the people, man, it's so uplifting. If you ain't subscribed yet, then you just omitting facts.